The following is a special presentation of the World Baseball Classic. Welcome back to Miami, a city with a blend of many cultures to create a unique vibe, and that mindset is enhanced this weekend as we hit day 3 at Marlins Park. Team Colombia almost shocked the world last night. Now a quick turnaround for them against a well-rested Team Canada squad, which features superstar Freddie Freeman and a big bunch of hockey players doing their best to feel at home. They're going to be facing a major league stud in Julio Teheran for Team Colombia on a doubleheader day at the Yard. Crucial games to help decide who moves on to San Diego. Canada and Colombia clash right now in Little Havana. Not officially an elimination game, but it's close. Both sides well aware that a win allows them to control their own destiny. A loss would mean the band is broken up after tomorrow. 16 nations in the entire field. A round-robin style narrows us down to 8. Israel and Cuba have a round 2 matchup this evening. The Netherlands and Japan are also part of that grouping in Tokyo. Pool D continues later today. And then there is Pool C. As we welcome you aboard, he's Cliff Floyd, I am Scott Braun, and we saw a Dominican team take down Team Canada on Thursday. A day of rest for the Canadians, not so much for Team Colombia. They almost pulled off the ultimate upset against the United States. It took them 10 innings to fall 3-2. And now we're going to see which team has a realistic shot at the second round.
Well, you talk about Team Canada having a day off, worked on some things. But for me, Team Colombia has nothing to hang their heads about. Jose Quintana was absolutely terrific. 5 2/3 of great pitching by him. He went out there and did everything he needed to do, execute everything. And then the defense, you know, for Team Colombia showed up. They got some great hitting. Three doubles in a row, scored some runs, put some pressure on a tough USA roster. But then the defense showed up and did what they had to do as well. And I think that was the catalyst. For me, that was the catalyst for this club, to do everything right, to put themselves in position to win a ball game. And when you do those type of things right, the confidence starts to ooze out. So very happy with Team Colombia's performance last night.
And now the question, can Julio Teheran put together a mirror image performance? The Canadians only put up 2 runs on Thursday. Dalton Pompey was the table setter for this team.
Well, when you talk about being a good table setter, you have to do little things right. You watch Dalton Pompey, how he plays the baseball game. Big double right here, scores a run against a tough DR team. And then he steals a bag, right? You talk about stealing a bag with 2 outs, getting into scoring position. And then the defense was absolutely terrific. The concentration for him going from A to B, you see the concentration, you know, with the eye-hand coordination was off the charts, really.
So the leadoff man was fine. They're going to need a more impactful contribution from hitters 2 through 4 in the lineup. They were a combined 0 for 11 on Thursday, and Colombia is beaming with confidence after almost pulling off one of the biggest upsets in baseball world history. Canada starter Nick Pivetta might introduce himself to the international stage. The roof is open again for an 80-degree day in South Florida. We're going to cruise through lineups and then the opening pitch of a must-win battle in the heat.
Yeah, well, you know what? Absolutely. When you talk about from a confidence standpoint, Team Colombia showed up and did what they needed to do, stay in that ball game for 10 innings. Unfortunately, came up a little short, but nothing to hang their heads about.
Colombia manager Luis Urrueta didn't sugarcoat it. When we spoke to him this morning, he said, the U.S. played down to the competition. Our team played way up to the competition. It'll be more evenly matched this afternoon.
And whether they thought about it or not, I think USA came out maybe a little flat, maybe tried to do too much. And Team Colombia having some success with a couple exhibition games leading up to the game, sort of came out a little free, a little relaxed, and it showed.
The Canadians take the field. The Colombian lineup card features the same underdog cast, starting with shortstop Donovan Solano, Reynaldo Rodriguez, and Cleveland Indians product Giovanni Urshela. Jorge Alfaro DH'd yesterday. He's going to catch and clean up. A 5-6-7 of Valdez, Sanchez, and Ramos. That caused the trouble yesterday. Jonathan Solano moves down to the 8th spot. And the entertaining number 9 hitter and the center fielder, Tito Polo. All 5 of those hits yesterday coming with 2 outs. The lineup was 5 for 34 last night, and they will face right-hander Nick Pivetta, 24 years old. He's tall, 6'5", 220 pounds in the Philadelphia Phillies system, and he can bring the heat.
Well, you talk about the heat. I'm going to give you my scouting report on Nick Pivetta. Getting ahead early, I think that's crucial for any young starter, especially on a big stage like this, and getting secondary pitches. You know, you look at secondary pitches being his out pitch. Those will be important for him. And building off the success that he had last year in 16, he made 27 starts at the AA and AAA level. Had some success, so build off that and hopefully give his team a boost today.
The defense backing him up with lots of World Baseball Classic experience. He will throw to George Kateris behind home plate. Freddie Freeman, the Braves superstar at first, and Pete Orr playing in his 4th World Baseball Classic, along with Jonathan Mallow at short. Eric Wood is at the hot corner. Outfield from left to right features Tyler O'Neill, Dalton Pompey, who covers a ton of ground, and Jamie Romack starting in right field. Umpires this afternoon include Edwin Hernandez behind home plate, Dan Iasonia at first, the second base ump Tripp Gibson, and Edgar Estevición at third.
That's pretty good by you, because I would have said it totally different than Estevición.
Just vision?
Yeah,
Plain
absolutely.
English?
It'd have been vision.
Well, let's have a look at Nick Pivetta, who played for the Canadian Junior National Team in 2009 and 2010. A 3-time minor league all-star selection. No major league experience yet, but according to the Phillies, he's close. And Donovan Solano went 0 for 5 yesterday. The shortstop will lead off. Underway in Miami for a doubleheader day. This is the first day game that we're playing in Pool C, and that means shadows to deal with, as we do have the roof open at Marlins Park.
Well, you mentioned those shadows right there. You see, always tough for a hitter. Advantage pitcher for a while. You know, the roof being open is great, but sometimes as a hitter, it's really tough.
0-2 offering upstairs. So you'd prefer it closed?
Absolutely. On day games, no doubt.
Solano in 2016 at AAA in the New York Yankees system for most of the time. Stays alive. Now, you played with the Marlins, but not at this ballpark because it opened in 2012.
Total different ballpark, total different name, everything, a lot. So basically during day games for me, when I played here, we just baked in the sun. Suntan lotion was really hot.
No roof in the old ballpark. Breaking pitch misses away. Quite a few Philadelphia Phillies connections that you'll notice throughout the afternoon. Jorge Alfaro, the catcher for Nick Pivetta in the minor leagues for a good chunk of this past season, is on the opposing side. It's popped to Pete Orr for the first out. Colombian manager Luis Urueta next to Edgar Renteria, the ambassador for Colombian baseball, and 20 years ago with the game-winning hit to be a World Series champ for the 1997 Marlins.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to him before the game today, and he just talked about so many different strategies as they tried to implement last night against a tough USA roster, and got us guys to not think so much. Guys playing out of position, but Edgar knowing how to get these guys on the same page was crucial.
16 MLB seasons, a 5-time All-Star. Reynaldo Rodriguez up next. Yesterday, 0 for 4. The top 3 in this lineup yesterday, a combined 0 for 13. 1-0 is in on the hands. Here comes Freddie Freeman. First round. So the other Phillies connection for Nick Pivetta is his manager, Ernie Witt, who is the roving catcher instructor with the Phils. He knows him quite well. He said he's absorbing information, Pivetta, much more than he used to. That was the main difference this year, as he was able to break out in the minor league system. Frankly, sounded like he was a bit stubborn in the past, a big attitude change. He said he thought he knew everything. His manager talking about the young starting pitcher.
Well, I think you have to, eliminate that thought as a youngster and sort of be willing to make some adjustments, because I think the game is really fast and you have to make the adjustments on the fly. So I think Nick, and you saw him last year, was able to make some adjustments and be really good.
Ernie Whitt has managed every Canadian World Baseball Classic team. It's the 15th time he's managed Team Canada in international competition. Played 15 MLB seasons of his own, 1985 NL All-Star. Pivetta's 2-2. Right field, in comes Jamie Romack. He'll camp under it for the second inning. The repertoire for Nick Pivetta: fastball, curveball. That's what he'll feature.
I like that. I think sometimes you want to work on your changeup, not necessarily, in big league baseball games. Preferable maybe in spring training when you get a chance to work on a little bit more in the bullpen. But two-pitch pitchers are always a good thing if you can perfect them.
Giovanni Urshela takes the first pitch away. Now that scouting scale goes from 20 to 80. 80 is the best in Major League Baseball. So the fastball and the curveball are his top two pitches. 1-0, shot sharply on the ground, and it's bobbled by Mallow. His throw will be late. It's an infield base hit for Giovanni Urshela, and the Colombians are on the board with a knock much quicker than yesterday.
Well, you get that knock out of the way and put that first hit on the board, so it relaxes you. But look at this play, eats up Mallow a little bit. Tough play in the hole anyway, with Urshela running down the line. Good try.
And now the matchup that Pivetta's been waiting for. His catcher, Jorge Alfaro, for a portion of the Double-A season in 2016. 1 for 4 yesterday. Who has the advantage here?
Well, you like to think it would be Alfaro, but I think at the end of the day, it makes you think a little bit of what type of pitches you're going to get from a guy that you've caught numerous times. But I don't think you think about that. As a hitter, you think about seeing the baseball and hopefully getting your pitch.
Broke the bat, and Jonathan Mallow will come in to retrieve the baseball. As Nick Pivetta allows the base hit, Urshela is stranded, and will introduce you to the Canadian lineup in the bottom of the first. Half of the first inning against Julio Teheran. Ernie Whitt with this order. Still Dalton Pompey first, Justin Morneau number 2, but Eric Wood bumps up to the 3-hole. Freddie Freeman hitless on Thursday, backed up by power bat Tyler O'Neill. Jamie Romack starting today in right. Kateris, Orr, and Jonathan Mallow the final 3. Looking for more production from the upper portion of the lineup, although Dalton Pompey was causing some trouble. 1 for 4 the other day, an RBI double, and eventually stole third base. And that is Julio Teheran, the Braves' #1 starter, a 2-time All-Star. Made 30 starts last year to the tune of a 3.21 ERA.
Talk about a guy that's had some really good starts in this ballpark. 4-2 record in 7 starts with a 2.84 ERA. So he's familiar with this place, been on this mound numerous times, pitching in the Atlanta Braves organization. So coming down here to Marlins Park, something he's been before. And you talk about the scouting report with him. Pitch to contact, I think he incorporated a sinker that's really helped him out. And we'll get to that in my scouting reports for him. And mentioned the pitch to contact and then throwing strikes. I think that's key for him, and I think for any pitcher, but for him more than others. And don't let Freddie Freeman beat you. His teammate.
That's right.
You can't let Freddie Freeman beat you. You got to talk about you the rest of the year. So I think that's a big one for him today.
And that's a batter that almost any pitcher in this tournament wants to avoid. That man, by far the best in the batting order for this team.
Okay.
Pompey right now, he appeared in only 8 games last season for the Blue Jays. 3 seasons up and down, mostly down in the minor leagues with Toronto. 92, the strike in there to bring us to a full count to Dalton Pompey. The 24-year-old switch hitter. Was actually the opening day center fielder back in 2015 for the Blue Jays. And it'll go to Tehran, so the easy underhand toss for the first out. This Colombian crowd brought the noise last night. I'm not sure if they still have it in them 12 hours later.
Well, they had to sleep quick, tell you that. They was in full effect into that ball game last night, rightfully so. I mean, it's a great game. Their team showed up against a great USA team, and a game of good show.
Every ounce of energy in their vocal cords used. Trumpets all night long. This is Justin Morneau, who was 0 for 4 on Thursday. World Baseball Classic appearance number 4 for the 4-time All-Star, 2006 AL MVP. Something Ernie Witt wanted to do for Justin Morneau was put him in the 2 spot because he didn't receive spring training at bats. He is currently a free agent.
Yeah, well, when you talk about showcase, this is his showcase.
8 games entering this tournament. A beast. 15 for 33, a 455 batting clip. In the last tournament, he went 7 for 11. The 2013 WBC.
You have to think at some point some club will pick up Justin Morneau just on the simple fact that he's had a terrific career, done some really good things in his career. Won a batting title, MVP, put up some terrific numbers. So hopefully this showcase works out in favor of him.
Watches the first 3 pitches, and that one's in for a strike. 3 strikes and 7 balls so far from Tehran.
Maybe off the plate a little bit. Justin Morneau thought so.
Trying to be as efficient as Jose Quintana was yesterday. Not the case against Morneau. Ball 4. Justin Morneau in his 4th World Baseball Classic. As you can see, a member of Team Canada in 2006. As that team went on to shock the United States. He went 4 for 13 in 2009, 4 for 9 in 2013. A 7 for 11 performance, 4-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner, the 3rd most home runs among Canadian-born players behind Larry Walker and Matt Stairs. And Larry Walker is just a few steps away from him right now, the first base coach for Team Canada. And that is lined past the shortstop Solano into left field. It's a base hit. Eric Wood connects and moves Morneau to second.
Nice swing by Eric Wood right here. Splits a fastball right up the middle, right down the plate for him, and knocks it in for a base hit. So Team Canada got some base runners early in the game.
And manager Ernie Witt made the change, moving Eric Wood to the 3-hole. Up in the order he goes. Tyler O'Neill moving down to the 5 spot to back up Freddie Freeman. And here's Freddie. This is the spot you want. A couple batters on for your main bat. Coming off his best offensive season. Team Canada obviously wanted him to play. The problem was initially they had Joey Votto, Justin Morneau plays first base, Josh Naylor, a first base prospect. That's basically his only position. They said, can we get third base out of Freeman? The Braves said no. Votto dropped out, so it works out. And Freeman drills a pitch into right field. Everybody moving station to station, and the bags are loaded. Forget that. Here comes Justin Morneau to score on the RBI hit for Freddie Freeman. It's the Canadians with a 1-0 lead.
He gets a little changeup up from Tehran and knows what to do with it. On his teammate, you see the nice swing, stays on the baseball. He's been hitting the ball. He actually hit the ball good the first night. Didn't have anything to show for it. Nice RBI knock. 1 out.
Should he have gone home with that?
Well, I think it was a late call by a third base coach, sending Justin Morneau with the fact that, you know, he's not the fastest runner.
Eric Wood moves to third. Tyler O'Neill bats next. This is Morneau's route.
You see him hesitation because the ball is a line drive, and you see him a little bit of a slow runner, and third base coach down the line reading the play all the way and seeing the outfielder basically come up and was going to second base with the throw and sent him. Freddie Freeman told me today before the game, he said, look, I'm not giving you a handshake. I went 0 for 4 in the first game. Didn't touch me, and look what happened. So
it worked.
Well, it worked.
But then I told Freddie, Manny Machado's not at third today. He was robbed his first time at the plate. O'Neill, 21 years old, in the Seattle Mariners system. Number 36 overall prospect in baseball.
Ooh, that was close. See the run on the fastball from Tehran.
And Tehran struggling mightily against this Canadian lineup in the first inning. O'Neill well decorated in the minor leagues. 2-1 with a runner moving to second. Here's the throw from Alfaro. That's a gun. Out number 2.
Wow. See how Alfaro comes up with the cannon right there. Quick release on the money. I thought Freddie got his foot in there, but we'll see another lift from the back. Bang, bang plays. Really close.
Did he come off the bag at any point?
Maybe that's what he saw.
2-2 misses into O'Neill.
Just watch the front foot, which is the left foot, get in there. He's pretty safe.
He's not on the bag right there.
There it is. Good call by second base umpire.
And no video replay on that play regardless. MLB rules when we get to the championship round. For now, the only time that we can put the headsets on is for a home run call, and that is strike 3. Julio Tehran avoids any further damage. 1 run comes in though thanks to Eric Wood with the RBI base hit, and Justin Morneau moving his way from second base to score. The Canadians take a 1-0 lead as we head to inning number 2. Nothing Canada over Colombia. Batman is coming to the game tonight. I know he's hanging out at the beach during a bright sunny day in Miami, but he's going to see the United States and the Dominican Republic this evening for the Superstar Showdown.
Well, if that was me, I would need an umbrella. He's liking the sun, huh?
Top 2. And it starts with Jesus Valdez. Put up the first hit for Team Colombia yesterday. It was a double and scored the first run. That's when we said, okay, Team Colombia against the United States.
Well, you're always looking for something to get you going, and you know, as soon as he got the double, 3 consecutive hits. So I think when you look at Team Colombia Yeah, they have confidence, but you also need something to give you a little spark.
These next three that you'll see in the order for Colombia did the damage. They scored 2 times, both in the 5th inning, 3 consecutive doubles. Valdez, then Adrian Sanchez, and Mauricio Ramos bats 3rd this inning against Nick Pivetta. You could call this the division of death for a team like Canada or Colombia, based on the United States and the Dominican Republic both being in this Pool C. This is the game that you need to have a chance at sniffing an upset and coming out of round 1.
We're talking to both managers. You know, of course, it's a must-win. This type of tournament is must-win every time you step on the field. So we'll see what the outcome is today, but I think these teams both understand the magnitude of this game. You know, like you and Luis earlier, just sort of going through and dissecting the wins and losses and what gets you on to the next round.
Down goes Valdez. Well, we were trying to figure this out with Luis Urueta this morning. These are the locations for round 1. Tokyo already getting started with round 2 tonight. Round robin play. We'll take 2 from each pool. First round, starting pitchers, 65 pitches or less, and an early termination rule. 15 runs or more after 5, 7 innings or later, 10 runs or more to end the contest. The mercy rule. We haven't seen that yet.
We saw it last night.
We saw it in another pool.
Yes.
Yes. A shocking one at that.
Absolutely.
Puerto Rico downing Team Venezuela despite having Felix Hernandez on the mound. And that is shot into left field. It'll be trouble and extra bases for Adrian Sanchez. A 1-out double for Team Colombia.
So I was ready to mention the shadows and how they're affecting these guys. And you look at Sanchez come up and get a little hanging pitch from Pivetta and shoots it down left field line for a double.
Winter League ranks in Colombia, and most of this squad has played together or against each other going all the way back to Little League. There are only 2 main cities with baseball in Colombia, Cartagena and Barranquilla, and they most of the time go back in the winter to play more baseball unless they're part of a big league club, and most of this team not in the big leagues. Mauricio Ramos with Sanchez on second.
Well, we talked about Team Canada, right, and being a hockey town, and now you flip it to Colombia, more of a soccer country, and you know, these guys say, look, you know, we don't expect to get all the attention, but we want to be known as, you know, a country where baseball is big, just like some other countries.
They want the world to know that Colombia can swing the bat.
Absolutely.
Ramos holds off, a ball and 2 strikes.
But I think sometimes you have disadvantages as far as, you know, well, we don't have all the all-stars, but when you talk about having that family away from the family, growing up together, you know, it's crucial for Team Colombia. As we see Justin Minot sitting there chilling.
Ramos right to second, and Peter will step on the bag to end the frame. So the Sanchez 1-out double does not hurt Nick Pivetta and company. We're in the middle of the second, 1-0 Canada. A 20-pitch first inning from Julio Teheran, looking for a much cleaner, quicker second frame, and the defense that he works with, Jorge Alfaro, with the gun behind home plate. It's Reynaldo Rodriguez at first, Adrian Sanchez at second, Donovan Solano at short, Giovanni Urshela with a great glove at the hot corner, and Ramos, Polo, and Valdez in the outfield. Scott Braun along with Clip Floyd, bottom of inning number 2, and Jamie Romack, the 6th spot. Then George Kateris and Pete Orr. First start of the tournament for Romack. Appeared as a pinch hitter on Thursday against the Dominican Republic in the 9th, and he struck out. But Ernie Witt spoke to us about how it's not just Jim Leland and Tony Pena who need to mix in a number of players. Jamie Romack didn't start. He's in a major league organization in spring training. He needs at-bats. And it's a nice pick at the mound by Julio Teheran to handle it himself. Second time he's done that already this afternoon.
Well, sometimes we see guys make a pitch and think only about pitching and not fielding their position. Little Teheran right there with a nice little scoop and a little toss over to first to help himself.
And something that Teheran has done so well recently is transforming his game into more of the ground ball variety. Used to be a fly ball pitcher, became much more efficient, able to last longer in his outings for the Atlanta Braves, and really blossom into a star.
And I always talk about the adjustments, but I think for him, he had to sort of solidify the secondary pitch for him and incorporating a sinker to get more ground balls and pitching to contact, because he was a hard thrower and he had to learn how to pitch. We talk about just being throwers in the game today. Well, you know, hard throwers, what did it get you? I think it gets you, you know, either long relief or in the bullpen. He wanted to be a guy that has longevity. You got to learn how to pitch and be effective.
Not just firing fastballs like he used to when he was a 20-year-old debuting in the majors in 2011. Gets a swing and miss from George Kateris. It's 1-2.
We talked about off-speed pitches. You see that little sinker there. That's a pitch you can do no damage with. That's going to get weak contact consistently if he can stay in that area.
And with all of the big games that he's pitched in, all-star games, a young debut, he said he's never felt so emotional. Feels extra responsibility representing his country, and said that he's going to really need to focus on controlling his emotions this afternoon.
Hard thing to do.
Freddie Freeman said he felt the same way on Thursday. Before the game, he said, "I'm going to be nervous." George Kateris, the strikeout victim, the second for Teheran.
Nice tight slider right there from Teheran. You see what Contreras is looking at when you look out there and you're looking for fastball and you get that, is good luck.
What about the backdrop for George Kateris as he's looking at Teheran and now Pete Orr, the number 8 hitter? Is it difficult, do you think?
It's really bright, and you're trying to focus in on a release point from the pitcher, and you know, you see a sculpture out there, you see a lot of different things, and it's hard to focus in on one, you know, on what you're trying to do. A little white baseball.
That thing is distracting out there. They should hide it completely when the home team's up during the regular season for the Marlins. 2015 AAA numbers for Pete Orr, because he is now a pro scout with the Milwaukee Brewers, hired in 2016. He's done with baseball after this. His last go-rounds with the Canadians.
I'm just impressed that these guys can get their bodies back in shape to come out here and do what they love to do and represent their country. I'm telling you, it's hard to do. My knees are banged up. There's no way possible. Even though I was asked to come out and represent the USA, there's no way possible to get my body back to what Dempster and Pete Orr has been able to do for their country.
You don't think you could do one game?
Zero.
Even Eric Gagne.
Eric Gagne, I forgot about him.
We haven't seen him yet. Pete Orr 3 for 29 in his first 3 World Baseball Classic appearances, and 1 for 4 on Thursday. No relation to the great Bobby Orr, but he wears number 4 whenever he can. And sends that pitch to center field. Polo moving back, still in the sun. And that will sit down the side in order. Much better from Julio Teheran in the second. It's a 1-0 Canada lead after 2. Little Havana used to be the site of the Orange Bowl. University of Miami's football team played here. Now just baseball and dominoes.
How about that? Take
Mix
a
it up.
chance of beating those guys. Good luck.
They'll pull a fast one. You'll go home with an empty pocket.
I think my man not paying attention on the phone. He's all in.
That's a fake phone. Scott Braun and Cliff Floyd, and the first pitch is chipped to right field. It's a long run for Jamie Romack. He won't get it. Instead, on a hop, it's a base hit on the first pitch that Jonathan Solano sees this afternoon.
See Jonathan Solano coming out of the chute. Swing at the first pitch. Himself a leadoff knock. Third inning.
Ready for this nickname for Solano?
The
Onion. So he was on his way to a tryout for the Washington Nationals in Venezuela. Had to hitch a ride on an onion truck, and the Nationals did sign him at the tryout. So thanks to the onion truck and those beautiful onions, he made it to the Washington Nationals, and last year AAA baseball for that organization up in Syracuse. Now Tito Polo. Inning number 3 from Nick Pivetta, and the 0-1 pitch chopped right side. Solano avoids it. Polo's out at first, and a runner now at second with one out.
See Pete Orr get the sure out at first base. He might have thought about going to second base. When you look at runner holding up, but you want to get that sure out to make sure you get one on the board.
He had the play though, right? If he wanted it, too risky?
Well, it's too risky. When you talk about not being out there a lot, consistently playing defense, you want to get the sure out and make sure you get one out.
That's true. These guys don't play together very often. They meet up just about 5 days ago. A couple exhibition games, and then big time baseball. Donovan Solano back to the top of the order. And he sends the pitch into left center field, and that's good for an extra base hit. Here comes Solano scoring, and now caught in between first and second is Donovan Solano, driving home his brother to even up the score.
You see Donovan Solano being aggressive on the first swing as well. Backswing, nice little knock. RBI. Jonathan Solano, his brother, on this hustle to get in there. Good defense by the Team Canada to cut down the runner going to second. But you get the RBI.
That's Eric Wood cutting off the throw from Tyler O'Neill. On a play like that, you need to mention the first names, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Can't just say Solano. Gotta say Donovan, gotta say Jonathan. Team Canada were pretty good.
Reynaldo Rodriguez flew out to right field first trip up. Donovan and Jonathan briefly spent time together on the Miami Marlins in this ballpark. Jonathan was mostly in the minor leagues during that time period a couple years ago. But those two are the leaders of this position player group. Jonathan, the more vocal one, figures he's the catcher. But Donovan starting to become more of a voice for this team. It's a foul ball.
And I think every team needs a leader. You know, whether he's on the field or, you know, rooting the guys on in the dugout. You need a team leader that can say the right things, do the right things on and off the field, and pump guys up. As we get a look at, you know, one of the best to ever do it for his country in Edgar Renteria. But when you have team leaders, it allows the guys to sort of not think so much, have fun, keep everything in perspective, and then just go out there and just play the game.
Rodriguez doesn't bite on the 1-2. That was your job, especially later in your career.
Yeah, and it's something you learn too. It's something that you learn early in your career. And first base coach for Team Canada, Larry Walker, taught me that early days in Montreal when we were there with the Expos. It's just about how to go about your business and play the game the right way.
Again, Rodriguez lays off.
We had a young squad up there in Montreal. You know, Rondell Whites and you know, myself. We have some young guys. You look at Larry Walker right there, one of the best to ever do everything on the field consistently. Run the bases, throw the baseball, hit for power, you know, all the things. Wish he was in the Hall of Fame. Numbers speak to that.
Still has a chance. 5-time All-Star, 7 Gold Gloves, 3 Silver Sluggers. And that's drilled to left field. It's a base hit for Reynaldo Rodriguez. Third single in the 3rd inning for Team Colombia.
Even though they lost last night, Scotty, you see the confidence come back. Slept quick, got to the ballpark, and Rodriguez right here, baseball splits the plate, and he feels good about that swing. So you don't win the game last night, but you come out with a little confidence. See Rodriguez flip the bat out the little knock. I mean, those things happen when you get a little confidence against a tough team as you faced last night in USA.
It's his first hit in the World Baseball Classic. Giovanni Urshela up next, and going after the first pitch. Driven to center field, Dalton Pompey, back still in the sun, and hauls it in. That'll sit down the side. The Solano combination. Jonathan with the base hit. Donovan sends him home and evens up the contest at 1 apiece. They're fired up to be here. Colombians, they've had some mistakes on the base paths, leading to just that 1 run. Number 9 hitter for Team Canada, Jonathan Mallow. And then we'll go 1 and 2, Dalton Pompey and Justin Morneau. Julio Teheran bringing pitch number 35. So that means 30 pitches left. 65 is the limit. We were spoiled last night by Jose Quintana. 5 2/3, and he still wasn't up to 65 tosses.
He was absolutely terrific. The White Sox must be proud of that performance, along with this country, Colombia.
Well, for example, for Team USA, it was Chris Archer. He went 4 innings.
See a replay right there. A little bit of a tight zone. I mean, you talk about how many pitches he has left.
28 now.
Well, there you go. You don't get those pitches, it's going to be pretty quick.
That's to Urshela for the first out. Let's learn about our friends in Canada, shall we? A population of over 35 million. It is the largest city that we're looking at, Toronto, home to more than 50% of the world's national lakes. I did not know that. And the Constitution was established in 1867. They became independent of England in 1982. One of 4 countries in this Pool C, along with the United States, Colombia, and the Dominican Republic. And a country that Cliff Floyd knows very well.
Absolutely. Started my career there. My wife is from Toronto. Kids born in Toronto. So, pretty familiar. Lived there a little bit in the winter, in the summer.
Dalton Pompey knows the area from Ontario, Canada. And in the Blue Jays system, trying to rise through the ranks right now. Tools galore, speed, a switch hitter, premium defender. But he says this tournament is totally different in terms of focus because everything's on the team aspect. In spring training, you're trying to prove yourself individually. 0-2 on a line. Urshela has it. Otherwise, it's in his face.
Absolutely. I think the ball caught him. I mean, we talked about the shadows and how bad they are. And a shot off the bat of Pompey right there. A nice little swing. And Urshela is like, hey, look what I found.
That's a third baseman in the Cleveland Indians organization. Giovanni Urshela, just shy of 300 plate appearances up with the Tribe. But last year, no major league time. front office felt like they rushed him a bit up to the big leagues 2 years ago. Defense has been there for a while. They said he needed more seasoning offensively. This is Justin Morneau. No major league team yet for Morneau.
Yeah, and you know what? At some point, it's going to happen. Teams have to, fill out their rosters and see how things unfold. But I think he's patient enough. He's had a great career. I think money-wise, he's fine for the rest of his life. So, if it happens, it happens. But as far as between the white lines, he's been outstanding.
And he told us this is not a tryout.
No.
1-1 is shipped to left center field. Polo being called off by Ramos. Morneau is retired. He said teams know what the deal is with me by now. 1-1. We continue the 2017 World Baseball Classic Pool C play in Miami, Florida. The only U.S. destination for round number 1. Round 2 has San Diego and the championship in Los Angeles. Scott Braun with Cliff Floyd, Nick Pivetta going back to work. Philadelphia Phillies product against another Philadelphia Philly in Jorge Alfaro. And I can call him a Philly because he did spend a little bit of time with the major league team. His MLB debut as a September call-up on the 12th last year. 17 big league plate appearances. That makes him a veteran in this lineup.
Yeah. And you talk about Nick Pivetta getting the best of him in his first at bat. He got all up in his kitchen. Made him get some new lumber.
This is the showdown they'll be talking about for a long time. Back in the first inning, Jorge Alfaro said, "Hey, Phillies fans, you're going to love this arm." Freddie Freeman going for second base. And he actually made it to the bag on time. But it looks like he overslid the bag a bit, and Alfaro was not just accurate, but that thing gets there in a hurry. And the grading scale, 80 is the top. That means you are elite. And he's just about there with his throwing arm. That's lofted into center field. And Dalton Pompey heading back towards the 407 sign. He's got a few steps before he stumbles against the wall. A long fly ball out, number 1. After this afternoon's matchup, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, we should have about a 3-hour break. And then the United States and the Dominican Republic will battle for a meetup of all-stars.
Well, the fan base is not in full effect right now, but I'll tell you what.
They're going to show up. Pool C, the DR and the United States both taking down Colombia and Canada, avoiding any upsets. Pool D, we spoke about, I don't know if you call it an upset, but just a thrashing last night. Venezuela being down by Puerto Rico. And that is shipped to left. Valdez retired by O'Neill.
Well, when you say upset, it may be disappointing when you look at 11-0 defeat with the squad that Venezuela has. But Puerto Rico came out, made some great plays. Carlos Correa's playing third base. Francisco Lindor's over at short. So, I mean, they just literally pounded them and took advantage of every opportunity that they had.
One of the teams we're watching right now trying to pull off an upset tomorrow. This is Adrian Sanchez. Colombia will face the DR team, and the United States hosting Canada. After this game, they want them to leave in a hurry. Only 2 clubhouses in the ballpark. Quick shift change.
That we know of, right? I mean, I never played in this ballpark, so I think it's only 2 clubhouses.
Well, it's confirmed they're only using 2. So clear out your bags, get out of here, see you tomorrow. Because there's plenty of bats to bring in for the United States and the Dominican Republic. Each guy probably brings how many with him?
Well, I would think maybe 10 to 15.
2 balls and a strike to Sanchez. Nick Pivetta had 48 pitches. He actually visited MLB Network back in January. Visiting as part of the Philadelphia Phillies prospect education program. Loved it. Now 2-2. I gave them a little tutorial. Him and Jorge Alfaro and company. I was hosting High Heat on MLB Network television.
Was it cool?
Showing them the whole works. Yeah, it was fun.
Did they enjoy it?
They were quiet, so they were listening. Pictures up on the Instagram account. And it's dumped into center field before it hits the ground. Dalton Pompey covers so much territory. 3 fly ball outs. Nick Pivetta gets the job done in the 4th. 1-1. Braves ace Julio Teheran to pitch the bottom of the 4th against Canada's 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Eric Wood, Freddie Freeman, and Tyler O'Neill. So far, the 1 run allowed back in the 1st. He walked Justin Morneau, Eric Wood with a base hit, and Freddie Freeman bringing home Morneau from second base. Since then, cruise control. 0-1-2-3 second. Same deal in the 3rd. And now Eric Wood, who had that base hit back in the 1st inning. Minor league prospect with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Upped his power numbers significantly last season. His first 4 seasons in the minor leagues, 15 homers in 353 games. And then he topped that number with 16 long balls in about a 1/3 of the amount of games. And the 1-1 on a few hops over to Solano. Wood is retired. And in comes Freddie Freeman, the Atlanta Braves All-Star, coming off his best offensive season.
Freddie Freeman continues to be the hottest hitter the Braves have.
That's a hot hitter, and he's been on fire.
I tell you, he's got some power. Imagine if the wind wasn't blowing in where that ball would have gone.
It's like, really, dude? I mean, it's like whatever is up in the air right now, you're going to be able to get the base hit on.
For Freeman now, he's hit in 29 straight games. Man, oh man.
Top 10 in the National League in a number of offensive categories, including extra base hits, slugging percentage, on base, and home runs. And look who is out in shallow right field to haul in the baseball. Adrian Sanchez, and that is the Colombian shift.
All you gotta do, all you can do is just smile in that situation. Everybody's smiling. Freddie's smiling. Sanchez smiling. You see Freddie's thinking out the box, I got me a clean base hit, and Sanchez is saying, nah, bro, I got you.
That is Giovanni Urshela, all the way from 3rd base. How unique is that shift? Usually you'll see the second baseman in that spot. Urshela leaving the hot corner to make the play, not Sanchez. They leave him in the infield. Urshela, one of their best infielders.
Well, let me tell you what, they move so many guys around. Edgar Renteria, I'm going to have a conversation with him after the game. He's going to look. You're going to put Urshela over there behind him. I mean, to each his own, but I tell you what, that was a great play by him.
Luis Urrueta priding himself on the defensive shifting that he's doing, which he helps to orchestrate for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's currently their field coordinator. This makes a ton of sense. And not seen here, TJ Lasita. Every time we meet with Luis Urrueta, Lasita sits next to him. And he also works for the Diamondbacks, helps with advanced scouting for this Colombian team. He told us we would see less shifts this afternoon, but against the major league hitters, it's on.
So he was basically saying, he was telling us a little fib. That's a shift. I mean, that's a major shift.
But that's Freddie Freeman. Against the major league hitters, they'll do the shift. They don't have as much data against all of Team Canada, so they'll more just shift to pull. Center field fly ball. We'll see who has it. That's Valdez. Just the regular right fielder. Nothing fancy there. 1, 2, 3. After 4, we're tied. But this weekend is all about international baseball. You can spend all the time you want in the afternoon out in the sun on the beach on Thursday and Friday. Today and tomorrow, we play 2 each day. Bottom 3 in the order for Team Colombia against new Canadian pitcher Ryan Kellogg, who didn't know that he was going to be here until about a few weeks ago. He replaced Adam Lowen on the Team Canada roster in the Cubs organization.
Right, good surprise, good opportunity.
Very pleasant surprise. Tapper, and he'll take care of it. Mauricio Ramos is retired. It happens only once every 4 years. The World Baseball Classic is finally here. Don't miss your chance to see the best players represent their country. Get your tickets now at worldbaseballclassic.com. An insomniac's dream. You can watch baseball all day and all night. I've been watching some 4:30 a.m. action. Not in the last few days, but in the first round, they're playing in Seoul, Korea, out in Tokyo as well. Jonathan Solano, who scored the first run for Team Colombia.
I have to give you credit. I mean, you stay locked in on all the notes and everything. You're so prepared up here. And me, I'm all scrambled and I have no clue what's going on.
High fly ball. In from left field, O'Neill, but instead it's Mallow. Right on the border of the sun and the shade there to make the second out. Let's introduce you to this Colombian nation, the second largest country in South America, the capital city, Bogota. Fourth highest altitude of any capital in the world. Third largest producer of coffee in the world, behind Brazil and Vietnam. Wake up, Cliff.
That's my type of country. I needed that this morning. I tell you what. That 7:10 or whatever wake up call I got.
That baby's been up since 4 a.m. watching baseball.
I woke up just like her.
Cranky. Up the middle, Tito Polo. Base hit for Team Colombia. Much more success than we saw from their 5-hit performance against the United States.
Polo finally on the ball with a little knock up the middle.
His first hit in the World Baseball Classic and hit number 6 of the afternoon for Colombia. That is better than their number from last night. Donovan Solano with one of those knocks back in the third, bringing in the run. It's Colombia's first time in the World Baseball Classic.
This might be a tough read for Polo over there, first bases. Maybe a possibility to get into scoring position with a stolen base opportunity.
And Ryan Kellogg, well aware of that, making his World Baseball Classic debut. Originally drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays out of high school in the 12th round back in 2012. Instead went to Arizona State and he shined in the Pac-12. And there goes Polo. He's there easily with the stolen bag. He's just exciting, electrifying in the 9 spot for this team and in center field.
He's been playing great defense, but you see him go first move on Kellogg, gets a great jump from first base and gets in there pretty easily. Had to sort of hold himself on the bag, didn't look in to see was there a swing or not. He keeps that right foot on the bag.
And he's used to this in the minor leagues this past season. 37 stolen bases. Go back to 2015. He took 46 bags, and that is into center field. Base hit. Here comes Polo, and the Colombians take the lead.
Exactly what you want. You get Polo in scoring position and 2 outs. Solano knows exactly what to do with the baseball. Hit it right back where it's pitched up the middle for a 2-out RBI.
Look at the hustle. He's been the spark plug from this team. Dancing before the game begins. The Pittsburgh Pirates do that before every game.
Every game.
He's the guy that leads that charge. And now the stadium is alive for Reynaldo Rodriguez. They just needed about an hour to wake up.
That's it.
After the long night.
You know, sometimes it takes you a minute to sort of recover from a game like last night.
Inches away from an epic upset against Team USA. The Colombians are now 4 for 8 in the tournament with runners in scoring position, taking advantage of the opportunities that they know they need to.
Well, 2-out RBIs, is something that's very crucial for any club, especially a team like Team Colombia. But you also look at Polo understanding the situation and getting in scoring position for Solano to knock him in.
Ronaldo Rodriguez fouls it to the left side. A part of the Twins organization. And this team reached this World Baseball Classic because of what they did a year ago in the World Baseball Classic qualifier. Rodriguez, a huge part of that. A 5 for 12 performance in that tournament. 11-year minor leaguer. Popped. Who's calling for it? Mallow or Wood? And that's Eric Wood. They all play hockey. They're used to taking a hit. Tito Polo. Come on home. Donovan Solano brings in his second run of the day to give the Colombians a 2-1 lead. The party continues in Miami. "14 pitches to spare for Braves ace Julio Teheran pitching for Team Colombia. 4 innings, just that 1 run in the first frame from Team Canada. Got the nerves out of the way and now faces Jamie Romack. 6, 7, and 8 due up for Team Canada. George Gutierrez and Pete Orr will follow. So 3 of the first 4 Canadian batters reached. They put together a run. Romack on a couple of hots. That's smooth from Donovan Solano at shortstop. So 11 in a row now retired by Teheran.
See a nice little swing right there, and Donovan Solano basically comes up with a nice backhand and smooth transition over first base. Nice play. Little Teheran thinks so as well. But he's been pretty smooth as well when you look at him on the mound, taming his nerves and being able to go out there and get outs after he gave it the run. It's been crucial for his club.
Solano actually roommates with his manager back when they played Colombian winter ball together in Barranquilla. The manager's only 36 years old.
I was about to say, he must be, you know, a young 33, 34, but he's 36. Okay.
He's played with a lot of the players that he's managing. Team Canada has quite a few players that are older than him. George Gutierrez facing a 2-0 count. A Teheran strikeout victim back in the second. Pitch number 56 is a ground ball for Rodriguez. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of World Baseball Classic, Inc. and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Ground ball machine Julio Teheran. Iffy in the first. Very Quintana-like the rest of the way. Quintana was a bit more efficient. 51 pitches through 5 innings yesterday. Teheran with 51 through 4. But if they get 5 innings from him, again, that is more than they bargained for. They expected 4 innings from each of their power starters.
You couldn't ask for any more, but you talk about 12 consecutive batters he's gotten out, you know, since he had a little trouble early in the game. And that's as efficient as you can be, especially at this time of year for a guy like Julio. But you know, he had to tame his nerves. You talked about him representing his country and all those things earlier on in the broadcast. But I think right now he understands, you know, this is a must-win situation, and he's going to do everything possible to put his team in that win column.
Starting pitchers are restricted in round number 1. Any pitcher is. 65 is the maximum. Round 2 we up it to 80, and then in the final round we go to 90, as many of these pitchers in spring training would be at that point in March. A ball and 2 strikes. Pitch number 60 gets away.
Also, all good rules.
But important to note that, let's just say Pete Orr reaches. He can still face the next batter. It's not like he has to leave when we get to 65. If he's in the midst of an at-bat against someone, he can go up to 70, 72, whatever it is, to finish the AB. They're not going to say, 1-2 count, you're out.
Which I like.
This 2-2 is a strikeout. Completed over at first base. That should be it for Julio Teheran this afternoon. A fine outing representing Team Colombia. His team out in front 2-1 as he has limited the Canadian damage. Just a run in the first and plenty of emotions. Repping his country. 51 pitches to put together 5 outstanding innings. That is Julio Teheran receiving handshakes as his day is likely done. Still has a few pitches left in terms of the limit, but everything they could have dreamed of from him combined with Jose Quintana, each starter giving up 1 run.
I think more than they expected, to be honest with you. Even talking to that manager, you know, about Quintana last night and then Julio today, you know, they wanted them to be efficient and be under control. And he was like, look, whatever we get from, we appreciate, but to get what they got last night and today is probably more than they expected.
They both showed up in a big way. This is Rowan Wick, a part of the Cardinals system, and he faces Giovanni Urshela. 3, 4, and 5 for the Colombians. Three going after it in center field, and the main man is Dalton Pompey for the first down. Julio Teheran shined this afternoon.
He got a lot of ground balls. He induced those. We talked about him in the secondary pitches being effective for him. The life on the fastball, late life, being able to add and subtract with his stuff, getting the out pitch and the emotions of pitching for his country was in full effect today.
He's one of the rare starters that actually gets better as the game goes on. And we saw that this afternoon. Quintana yesterday in 63 pitches against Team USA recorded even 2 more outs. And their manager told us about how they look the part. You can tell that they're major league pitchers in the way that they prepare themselves, the way that they conduct themselves as starters.
It takes time, though. You know, these guys have been through some ups and downs in their careers. We talk about, you know, and how they had to adjust, Quintana and Teheran, but it takes time at the big league level because guys have so much information and data to be able to break you down.
Jorge Alfaro smacks a pitch foul.
But when you get the all-star label on you, you've done something, of course, to put yourself in that position, not just team-wise, because a lot of good players on both the teams that they play on, but you have to shine consistently. I think that's the thing at the big league level that gets lost a little bit, and we don't like to use that word because it's hard to be consistent at the big league level. So those guys deserve a lot of credit.
That man hoping to get more big league time this year with the Phillies. Their catcher of the future. Against a likely big league reliever one day for the St. Louis Cardinals, Rowan Wick. He can bring the heat. A converted position player, and just recently, his first full season on the mound last year, goes from the outfield. They had to convince him to, as we check out the scouting report.
You see at the bottom there, you say mechanics still developing. That's basically right here, keeping it as simple as possible.
And that's through the hole. Jorge Alfaro with his first hit of the day.
Talked about Rowan Wick, you know, talking about mechanics and all these things. You know, you talk about Julio Teheran and Jose Quintana and how they've polished veterans. Rowan Wick is trying to figure out how to be consistent with his delivery. And that's a hard thing to do, coming from a positional player to the mound and getting outs at the big league level. But the stuff is there. If you can keep everything simple with the mechanics and let everything flow and not think a lot, maybe the success is waiting.
The outfield wasn't quite working out, and the radar gun said this man should pitch.
Well, you know, outfield coordinators, they looking at one thing, right? Arm strength. Where you playing in outfield? And they say, hey, if it don't work out here, we've seen a lot of guys go from position players to the mound.
Sent to right field, Romack taking a few steps back towards the track, and he lines it up for the second out. But usually the numbers show itself, right? So they go, hey, you hit 248 in 758 plate appearances, and you can throw 95, 96, try the mound. But his response, pitching is boring.
Well, I think, you know, when you want a paycheck and you don't want to sit on your couch, because that can get boring too, you figure out another way to make an income. So I think he's fine.
So many activities you can do with major league money.
Absolutely. Keep you from being bored.
His minor league numbers as a position player. And then the Cardinals said, hey, look at someone like Jason Mott or David Carpenter or Sam Tuivailala in our recent past.
Yeah.
All players that went from position to pitcher.
Rick ain't killed.
That's right. He went back and forth.
He went back and forth.
Ends up being a quality major league outfielder with the Cardinals. Wick got a piece of it. It's Orr with the toss underhand, not in time, and then the throw to first, but already there safely is Adrian Sanchez. Jorge Alfaro beat the soft toss. Pete Orr looks like he thought he had more time.
Well, when you think about who's running, you're thinking the catcher's running, but Alfaro is a pretty decent athlete. So you see his secondary league, gets a good jump off the, you know, off the crack of the bat and gets himself in second base before the throw. Good call by the second base umpire.
So Sanchez reaches on the fielder's choice. Definitely a mistake made there. Alfaro in scoring position. And here comes Mauricio Ramos. Looking for his first successful trip at the plate. 6-year minor leaguer. Double-A baseball last year with the Kansas City Royals. That man hasn't been in the big leagues for a long time. 2008. Eric Gagne. We're excited to see him on the mound for Team Canada.
Of all the guys that, you know, came back and thrown baseball and want to pitch or play for their countries, Gagne has some good stuff. You know, he's managed. He's pitched an independent ball. Was one of the nastiest closers in the game for a long time. And now he says, you know what? I hope a major league team takes me seriously.
At least 5 of them have already looked at Eric Gagne. Crazy story how he gets back on the mound that we'll get into. 2 on, 2 outs for Mauricio Ramos. And 94 misses away. Jonathan Solano waits on deck, scored the first run for Team Colombia.
Look at Wick. These are the things you're talking about when you're making that transition, is sort of perfecting those, you know, off-speed pitches. But a lot of credit to Contreras behind the dish, blocking that ball and keeping the guys from moving up on the base path.
Good news for manager Ernie Witt. All of his relief pitchers are available this afternoon thanks to the off day yesterday. Wick's 3-1. Ball 4. And that'll fill up the bags full of Colombian base runners for Jonathan Solano. The former Cy Young Award winner being summoned by Ernie Witt. We haven't seen him in the big since 2008. Used to be known as Game Over, and maybe he brings that back. It's Jonathan Solano in the 8th spot. And fires in 94 miles per hour. He can still sling it.
Obviously, you see why some major league teams are looking at him with that velocity.
And apparently the changeup is the same nastiness that you saw in your playing day.
Thanks a lot.
Ooh, pitch number 2 gets away. All of the accolades, including a still MLB record, going to be tough to crack. 84 consecutive saves converted. And he was shutting things down for the Dodgers. Now 3-0 to Jonathan Solano.
Let's take a look at this again. Wow. Yeah, that was a strike to me, but I'm not umpiring.
Alfaro started this threat with his base hit. Needs to find the strike zone or Colombia takes a 3-1 lead, and there it is. Julio Teheran was nervous in the first, and now he's feeling it again.
Feeling the breeze with that haircut. Looking good.
Teheran, among the worst run support in Major League Baseball on the Braves last year. Would love some extra help. Gagne's 3-1. Does miss, and the Colombians have a 2-run cushion.
Well, if Eric Gagne, tough pill to swallow right here. I mean, tough zone for everybody today, but I think when you look at Eric Gagne, he needs those pitches, especially coming out of the bullpen in a tight spot, bases loaded with 2 outs, and they get a couple calls.
Is that the right call for someone who said in the exhibition game the other day he felt nervous when he was pitching?
Probably unfamiliar for him in his career when you talk about coming out of the bullpen. Normally in the 9th inning to start the inning. When you get 84 consecutive, games closed, you come out of the gates. You got 0 on the board, nobody's on base. A little different, but I think when you talk about a veteran, he's been there before.
This is a mess, and now ball 2 to Tito Polo. Difficulty locating right now. LaRue looks like he's going to get hot. That's ball 3. He said when he pitched the other day, he felt fine physically and mentally, but he had to tweak some mechanics. Not sure if he pulled that off yet. Polo will watch strike 1. Now, do you wait again based on what we just saw?
I'll take another one if I'm Polo. His last at bat got his first knock of the WBC, so the nerves are gone, but the bases loaded, you get a little anxious. We'll see.
He does wait, but it's in there for strike 2. Paints the inside corner. Julio Teheran says, I didn't get that call.
I'll tell you what, Eric Gagne, you look at the replay on this one. I mean, that's a little more than black. Inner half, low velocity on it, 94 miles an hour. He needed that pitch.
Payoff coming. Runners moving. Right field, Romack. Camps under it. Eric Gagne walks in a run, shaking his head. We We hadn't seen him pitch in the major league since 2008. He said about his throwing, "I feel great. It's almost scary." Just some nerves there, and a 3-1 Colombian lead. Runs in back-to-back innings for Team Colombia to grab a 3-1 advantage over a Canadian team that is hitless since the first. Eric Gagne walking in a run. And Johan Pino with major league experience as part of the Twins and Royals organizations. 2016, though, he was in Korea. That pitch is lashed foul, though, down the line. Jonathan Mallow getting a good piece in the 9 spot. 0 for 1. Ground ball out in the 3rd inning. So Pena had the potential to start tomorrow.
Right.
His manager told us that. Scratch that. William Cuevas initially was supposed to be the starter tomorrow. He instead was the piggyback starter yesterday after Jose Quintana, and he said he wanted to go with Cuevas. They had the lead over the Americans, and Cuevas is their 3rd best pitcher. Pino probably number 4 on that list.
Well, I can tell you what that is. He's playing for the W, as he should be, and every game is a must-win. And when you have the lead, you have to go for it. And these guys give him a better chance at winning those ball games.
3-1 to Mallow, ball 4. A much-needed base runner for Team Canada. 2 things to keep in mind. Number 1, the loser of this contest likely out of the tournament. Not officially, but chances would be slim heading into the final day tomorrow in round number 1.
But also with that thought about, you know, supposedly starting certain guys, is if you tell these guys that, their mindset changes. So if they have to come into a game when they didn't think they were going to be in the game, mentally it's a challenge for them to get themselves ready. So if you think you started and then you end up coming in the bullpen, it's a different mindset for these guys. But we'll see how it plays out. Last night it didn't work in their favor, even though they had a great game.
Pino has done both, starter and reliever. Last appeared in the majors in 2015 with Kansas City. 12-year minor league career. Dalton Pompey, minor leaguer in the Toronto Blue Jays system. Robbed in his last plate appearance, Giovanni Urshela over at 3rd base, flashing the letter. Johan Pino spent over 1,000 innings in the minor leagues on the mound before making his debut at the age of 30 in June of 2014. That's a long wait.
Just never give up. Keep fighting. Fight for your life. Good block.
Just like a fine wine, better with age. 33 years old now, and actually signed a minor league deal with the Minnesota Twins back in January, trying to make it back to the big leagues. So Jonathan Mallow at first, working the walk, first base runner for Team Canada since the opening inning. Damage from 2, 3, and 4 back in the first. Justin Morneau scoring from a Freddie Freeman base hit. That's all we've seen from them. The 2-2 breaks the bat, goes to short, and they get the out. So Pompey will replace Mallow at first.
Mallow made that play closer than I think Colombia thought it was going to be. Solano gets the ball over there, but we'll take this look, this better angle. Wow, that's close.
Well, unfortunately, Cliff, we can't take another look. We can. They can't on the field. In the first and second round, we only go to the replay review system to determine home runs, boundary calls. Otherwise, it is all done by the umpires.
And you wonder what all the changes in the rules, maybe that changes the next time around.
The only problem you have is they're not all major league parks.
Which is true. And it's maybe unfair for the other teams, but I think we've seen some close calls in both the games we've called and the games we've called, right, that make you think, wow, I mean, those are, you know, big parts to you winning and losing ball games.
Doesn't it make you appreciate the replay system that we have right now?
I've never doubted it one bit. Do they take a little too long sometimes? Absolutely, but I think it's definitely a big adjustment and a big part of our game moving forward because it helps umpires. You know, those bang plays are hard, you know, as the game speeds up consistently, and these guys are getting off the bags and making them closer. So we got to get the calls right. I think that's what it boils down to.
They'll keep Dalton Pompey tight at first. On Thursday, when he reached second via double, he stole third base against the Dominican Republic. He's taken 8 of his 10 bag attempts in the major leagues and an 81% success rate in the minor leagues. A known threat.
And people always doubt that type of move when you steal third, you're already in scoring position, especially when you have the wheels as Pompey has, but it changes the whole dynamic of how the pitcher, you know, pitches then. Ball in the dirt, gets away from the catcher, guess what? You score a run. So I never, you know, look at that and say bad move by a base runner, especially when you look at the percentage of success rate he's been.
Morneau to right field. Valdez heading towards the line, and he finds it. That's the second out. 2 of the 3 outfielders for Team Colombia do not usually play there. Valdez, an infielder. Tito Polo, usually a center fielder. And out in left is Mauricio Ramos, who's usually a third baseman. But this team doesn't have enough outfielders. So they decided Ramos has enough athleticism to play out there. And they said not the smoothest cat, but he gets the job done.
He gets the job done. You see him right there waving to the dugout to get the position right and make sure he's in the right spot. And you know, when you plan out a position, the one thing you want is a lot of help from the coaching staff because they're going to put you in the right spots. They've scouted the guys, they understand the situation, and you know what, if something should happen, put it on the coaches, not me.
Well, they did call him and said, hey, when you get to spring training, start shagging fly balls in left.
That's it.
That's going to be your spot. Ernesto Frieri, we haven't seen him yet in the tournament. Former big league closer with the Angels. This team is missing Dilson Herrera, who's had some major league time, would be their usual second baseman. Also Harold Ramirez, highly regarded prospect in the Seattle Mariners system, or make that to the Toronto Blue Jays system actually. Now Eric Wood batting next. Two down and speedy Dalton Pompey at first.
You talk about these guys out there playing the field, Scotty. The one thing I look at is how deep they're playing or how shallow they're playing. And you look at playing out of position, you want them as deep as possible just to make sure you keep it easy for them. It's easier to come in on a baseball than to go back if you're out of position.
And that's what worked yesterday.
Yeah. Nice curveball by Pino.
Soft tossing right-hander. We'll look at the defensive setup. Flags flying, blue and yellow all over the ballpark. 1-2 with the runner on the move. Here's the throw, and Dalton Pompey is safe. His left toe stays on the bag. He's been there before.
See, Pompey gets a nice jump off the bag, takes a peek in. Oh, he gets in there with his left hand. Maybe jammed his thumb as he tried to hold on with the left hand. The trainer's coming out to take a peek at him.
Still down is Dalton Pompey.
Maybe we just need a little eye wash. Got a little face planting.
That was a face flop.
Yeah, well,
Dirt
got
in his face.
a little dirt in the face. I haven't seen that type of slide in a long time. Head first, head down.
The no-look
Face
slide.
down. I got a little blood there.
Checking out his nose right now. So excited to be part of this ball club. If you think about it, he would be fighting for at-bats in spring training right now. Instead, he gets to start, lead off, and play center field every day with Team Canada.
And that's good for him. You know, gets a chance to get some quality at bats. You know, it's sort of like big league experience. See the crowd give him some love as he gets up.
No way he's leaving this game. Added 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason and said he is still just as fast as he was a year ago. While we have a moment, let's check out the Pool C schedule that we're working with. The DR and the United States victorious in the first two. Colombia up 3-1 over Canada. We're watching right now. Tonight, the ultimate showdown, the rematch between the United States and the Dominican Republic. The Dominicans took round one of the battle back in 2013. DR against Colombia tomorrow afternoon, followed by Canada and the United States. If we have three teams, either 1-2 or 2-1, we would play one bonus game, a tiebreaker on Monday night.
Yeah, well, you look at DR coming in, winning 9 consecutive, going back to 13, and you know, playing some good baseball against Canada the first game for about 5 innings, and all of a sudden Jose Bautista hits a 3-run home and breaks the game open. But last night was sort of a total different situation for USA, right? And they got a handful from Colombia. I think a wake-up call going into tonight's game.
Jim Leland, manager of Team USA, said they were anxious. Colombia's manager, seen there, said the United States was hacking, often at the first pitch. And they were surprised about it.
Pompey don't look so good at second base, rightfully so. I mean, when your face hits the dirt, the one thing you worry about is, in this day and age, the concussion, right? And it's a little woozy out there at second.
Definitely shaken up from the slide. They did spend some good time with him, though. Back to Eric Wood's 2-2 count, and the 2-out pitch ends the inning. So Pompey can head back to the dugout, and he is doing so gingerly. It's a 3-1 lead for Colombia after 6. Lead remains at the top of the 7th. Colombia over Canada. Julio Teheran began things for the blue and yellow. 5 innings, 1 run, 3 strikeouts. Nick Pivetta did a solid job for Team Canada, and Donovan Solano driving in a couple. Now in the top of the 7th, it is a clean frame for Eric Gagne. Scott Braun with Cliff Floyd, and he will face Donovan Solano to begin the order for Team Colombia. And that was a good point from you in the previous inning. Eric Gagne, when he's closing, usually coming into a clean frame.
Yeah.
Last inning, manager Ernie Witt says bases loaded, 2 outs. Let's bring in the big man.
Well, I think he trusts him to come in, and he made some quality pitches. Didn't get a couple calls that he needed. Ended up walking the guy in, but this is what he is more accustomed to. Sorry.
He's amazed at how good he felt after pitching back in September on the ground over to Orr for the first out. It was part of a promotion in the independent Can-Am League. He went 5 innings for the Ottawa champions, gave up just 2 hits and 1 run, and said, wow. 2 days later, my arm feels great, started throwing again, and here he is on the comeback trail trying to get back to the big leagues. 6 strikeouts in that September performance, hit 93 on the radar gun. That'll work. Swing and a miss for Reynaldo Rodriguez. Do you remember facing Eric Gagne?
Absolutely. Do I want to remember it? Absolutely not.
Do you want to hear the numbers? Well, I'll give them to you anyway. 1 for 7.
Oh, 6 punchies.
I didn't get that info, and I'll leave it out.
Please. It wasn't fun, though. And I think he's always in the hitter's head before he even get in the box. And that's never good for a hitter.
He's a presence. 6'2", 195 pounds. He only struck out twice against him, by the way.
That's it.
Made
so
contact.
basically, I just put the ball in play. Had no success. I didn't get hit, so obviously I was just thankful for that, I guess.
Can't confirm this, but I heard you were robbed at least 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Reynaldo Rodriguez 1 for 3 this afternoon after an 0 for 4 last night.
Yeah, maybe I had some good exit velocity, right? That's it.
3 balls and a strike. This was the problem for Gagne back in the 6th. He walked Jonathan Solano. That brought in a run. This time, going after the pitch to Pompey in center field. Romack makes the call and has to slide in to make the catch. We thought that Eric Gagne was going to be a coach for his second career. There he is, managing Team France back in 2013 and also in the 2017 World Baseball Classic qualifiers. He was replaced as manager for Team France in April because he said, I'm going to give this thing a go. Called up Ernie Witt and company and said, I'm back. Him and Ryan Dempster. 41-year-old Eric Gagne pours in a strike off speed to Giovanni Urshela. And Ryan Dempster, in fact, could be the starter tomorrow. Ernie Witt broke the news to us this morning. Said Demp feels good. And you will only see him as a starter tomorrow. He would not be brought back as a reliever. 2 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, and a strikeout, a big one with the splitter against Jose Bautista the other day. 49 pitches is key because you stay under the 50 mark, you only need a day of rest. You can come back onto the mound. And he can return tomorrow.
Well, you look at the 4 earnings and you think, oh, well, bad outing for Ryan Dempster, but he actually pitched pretty decent. I mean, he gave a couple, hits, but he hadn't pitched in 4 years. So credit to him going out there and fighting and giving his team at least a chance to stay in the ball game against a tough lineup.
Eric Gagne records the strikeout, and there's the man that used to be called game over. Basically can still say the same thing. 1, 2, 3, go the Colombians. Baseball by the Bay in Miami, Florida, the 2017 World Baseball Classic Pool C action between Canada and Colombia. The 3rd game we're seeing at Marlins Park. And it's Freddie Freeman laying down a bunt down the line.
I love it.
Why?
Well, look at what the shift is. And they're down 3-1. And if he hits a homer right now, they're down 3-2. So.
Well, the reason he's doing that is because third base is so wide open, and I'm sure they'll take Freddie getting first if that's the only damage he does. That's the one guy you need to avoid in this lineup. A lineup that's hitless since the 1st inning.
Well, if you bunt it hard enough, maybe you can get it past, the base and get a double out of it.
That would take some skill. Down on 3 pitches instead, Johan Pino.
Pino just comes with the gas outer half of the plate, and Freddie can't catch up to it. Swing and a miss for Freddie Freeman right there. But you know what? The bunt, you like the idea. If you don't get it down, it messes with your hitter. I've been there before. It's never fun. You can't get back into a rhythm as a hitter and understand the pitching. But Freddie Freeman, he's human. It happens.
A lot of pressure on him in this World Baseball Classic. Tyler O'Neill 0 for 2 today. Freeman's 1 for 7. Justin Morneau has been hitting in the 2 spot for this game and their first back on Thursday, and he is hitless. Both surprisingly not showing up yet, and you don't have much time. You might only play 3 games and be back at spring training.
Well, the one you saw, Freddie Freeman got an RBI single early in the game. And then with Justin Monroe, I think Ernie Whitt was trying to get him some more at bats to get comfortable in exhibition games and thought that hitting him second was good.
Tyler O'Neill shoots it out to left field, and there is Mauricio Ramos. Johan Pino retires 2 batters. O'Neill also still hitless in the World Baseball Classic. Same with Jamie Romack, who bats next, 0 for 3 so far in the tournament. Do you think that Freddie Freeman is maybe trying to do too much, though, for Team Canada? Feels too much pressure? You also look back to when he tried to steal a base in the first inning off of Julio Teheran and that golden arm of Jorge Alfaro.
Well, every major leaguer is trying to do too much. I think we saw last night with USA. I think, you know, when you look at Team Canada, they don't have as many stars as USA, so Freddie Freeman would probably have a little bit more pressure on him to go out there and do too much. And he's done okay. He's hit some balls hard. He just hasn't found any grass.
It's not just him, his entire team. Just 2 hits today. 8 for 56 as a ball club. That's a 143 mark. 8 for 56 over a 2-game span. Romack holds off. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We also talk about the layout for Team Canada, right? You have a day off, you sort of relax a little bit. You're thinking maybe a little bit of game 1. And on the flip, Colombia played a tough game last night and came back with some confidence.
And some fire, but Jamie Romack with some punch off the bat. And the Canadians have their first base hit since the first frame. A couple major league seasons for Jamie Romack.
Well, we'll just give them a little bit of love since they haven't had a hit in a while, and Romack is like, thank you.
All the shifting we see from this team, you figure there's no holes, but there's still room. George Kateris. First pitch. High fly ball, right field. Valdez raises his hand. And that will sit down Team Canada. They do record their first hit since the first, but only 4 batters and still a 3-1 deficit after 7. Eric Gagne again, somewhat convincing the coaching staff to do another inning against Team Colombia. And Dalton Pompey shaken up and now taken out of the game and replaced by Rene Tassoni, who will bake in the Miami sun in center field. Ernie Whitt and the general manager of this team, Greg Hamilton, having a discussion with Eric Gagne, pretty much shaking them off like, I'm good. I did 10 big league seasons like this, although usually just 1 inning in the 9th. 4, 5, and 6, middle of the order for Team Colombia. Jorge Alfaro, Jesus Valdez, and Adrian Sanchez. Alfaro first, 2 for 8 in the tournament, 1 for 4 this afternoon. A base hit in the 6th. And he was brought home thanks to Gagne's bases loaded walk to Jonathan Solano. That's the 24th pitch from Eric Gagne.
Well, you see the difference in velocity, right? He came in the game 94, 95. He's dropped down to 89, 88. So.
Is he going to be a starter now?
I doubt that, but long relief. I mean, that's what the game is today. He has that type of stuff right there. That pitch is anywhere.
That's the trademark changeup that Eric Gagne was able to toss better than just about anybody during his prime years. His signature pitch. It's quite amazing, though, to not pitch in baseball for about 9 years. Hasn't even been to a spring training camp since 2010. Come back so much later and still be throwing 93, 94 miles per hour at age 41. Ryan Dempster pitching on Thursday with the same average fastball velocity, 89 miles per hour, that he showed us in 2013, his final big league season. 1-2 misses.
Well, basically, you're just thinking the the good Lord upstairs, because nothing you can do in the weight room, even though you have to keep the body in shape. He's changed body type wise, but you can't just say my arm is going to hold up and be able to do what he's doing right now.
Slapped foul. I'm thinking every pitcher that retired maybe a hair earlier is watching Gagne, watching Dempster, heading out to the local high school field and saying, let me just make sure my arm doesn't feel better now, because Ryan Dempster said initially when he retired, his arm was like a turtle going back into its shell. But then 4 years later, he's feeling it just like Eric Gagne. Another strikeout back-to-back for the Canadian reliever.
You see the dip in that change up again. That was a really good one. Started at the knees and dropped down, you know, to the ground. So that's the one I saw in my career. The one he's, you know, been leaving up a little bit is a little bit different, maybe a little bit more velocity back in the day, but still effective.
Now Jesus Valdez. Gagne took on other projects like coaching, we showed you in the last inning. Also the executive producer of a 2016 film, Spaceman.
Did you see it?
I did not. Don't tell Eric.
Well, obviously I didn't.
That's Wood charging, heading towards Gagne. And he has looked really good ever since that bases loaded walk back in the 6th. Now 6 consecutive batters retired by Gagne.
When you've done the things he's done in his career, you don't worry about anything other than just having your arm hold up, because the mental side of it, he's done that before. He's been there. He's been in pressure situations. If the arm holds up, he's fine.
The longevity he's giving Team Canada is surprising, as that's dropped into left field for a base hit. It's Adrian Sanchez.
So Sanchez gets a fastball up in the zone and deposited in left field for a base hit.
So if Gagne records one more out as he faces Mauricio Ramos, he would be going 2 1/3 for the first time since 2004. He did it 4 times, 2 1/3 or more in his relief pitching career. He did begin as a starter up until 2001, but then once he was a reliever, you're pretty much working with 1 inning, and that was the 9th.
Yeah, and with me, Ryan Dempster, shocked that he's out there, you know, after not pitching for 4 years. But he's a starter. He's accustomed to it. Once he gets out there, Eric Gagne has never been in this situation. So this is where I'm shocked that he's holding up this long.
Ramos lifts the ball to center field. It's Tassoni, the new center fielder. And that's the inning. 1 base hit. Eric Gagne feeling great about his performance, aside from the bases loaded walk. The big fella back, maybe coming to a major league park near you. Scoreless from the 41-year-old Eric Gagne. He did walk in a run, but he was not responsible for that man. 3-1 Colombia over Canada, and a hug from his buddy who is on a similar path, just not to the major leagues, Ryan Dempster. He said he's done after this, we think. 4 years from now, he'll be 43, going on 44 in May. You never know.
Never know. He's out here now. What's the difference, right?
Efrain Contreras out in right field. He is a usual outfielder and replaces Valdez. So Colombia tightens up the defense against 8-9-1 for Team Canada, starting with Pete Orr. Eight MLB seasons. Braves, Nationals, Phillies. Last appeared in a game in September of 2013 with Philadelphia.
Talk about Pete Orr being a guy that was utility guy when he played, so he always paid attention to detail, making sure he kept caught the ball and played good defense and kept him around for a long time.
On the ground, tough play for the first baseman Rodriguez, and he executes it.
Tough hop off the bat of Orr. Rodriguez gets to it, nice range, perfect throw over to Pino for the out. Not an easy play by no means. I played over that first base. Getting to it first is hard enough, and making the throw is even harder.
Looking like a second baseman on that play. Now Jonathan Mallow. Shot to center field. It's Polo heading back. And that's out number 2. Not as much work for Tito Polo this afternoon. The defense, again, has been stout for Team Colombia. The World Baseball Classic continues tonight in this ballpark with the United States and the Dominican Republic at 6:30 Eastern Time. Both rosters flooded with all-stars, and they say it's an all-star game played like a playoff game.
I like
because
that analogy.
This is what's at stake. DR and US both victorious in their first games. Canada and Colombia playing right now, really to stay alive. Not officially, but both of these teams desperately need victories, and then they would likely need an upset win tomorrow over the US or the DR, depending on which team we're talking about, to advance in the tournament. There's one more wrinkle, and that's whoever finishes in last place in Pool C will have to qualify for the next World Baseball Classic. Something that, for example, Colombia doesn't want to do because they have major leaguers like Julio Teheran and Jose Quintana who likely wouldn't participate in those qualifiers.
Tough pitch.
First at bat of the day for Rene Tassoni.
See a pitch from Pino just off the black. Nice frame by Farrell.
He can do it all. 1-2 pitch. Solidly struck to right field. On the move is Contreras, the defensive replacement. There at the right spot at the right time. And Team Canada continues to struggle offensively. It's 3-1 Colombia. Colombia and Canada battling throughout the afternoon. Pitching has stood out. And Team Colombia making a ton of noise in their first World Baseball Classic appearance. It started last night against Team USA as they fell 3-2 in extra innings, yes, to the United States. New pitcher Scott Matheson, his 2016 numbers in Japan. And now Colombia with a 3-1 lead. They get past pitcher Eric Gagne, who's now replaced by a 33-year-old who actually appeared back in the first World Baseball Classic in 2006. And he threw a scoreless 8th inning in Canada's upset of the United States 8-6. Jonathan Solano, Tito Polo, and Donovan Solano, 8-9-1, due up for Colombia. 0-2, shift to left field. It's got room, and it's an extra base hit. Solano moves to second with the leadoff double.
The 0-2 pitch. Matheson probably wants back up in the zone. A little bit of a hanger. Solano deposits for a double.
And then he wants to hear it. Get loud. He's still going. And now he can be a cheerleader the rest of the way as he's going to be replaced. Oscar Mercado for some speed. And number 9 hitter Tito Polo showing bunt. A base hit back in the 5th, stole second, ended up scoring on the Donovan Solano single. Donovan hitting next. And there's the bunt. Matheson only has one play. And the throw's off the mark. Mercado scores. Polo to second. 4-1 Colombia.
Well, we heard the terminology before, speed kills. Polo has some speed. Matheson takes a look at third base, probably something he shouldn't have done with Polo running. But as you know, with pitchers, it's their tendency. He throws the ball off the line a little bit for error, and Polo is excited over there at second base. Let's go.
And let's go to the first place hitter, Donovan Solano. The most successful Colombian bat today. Run scoring singles in the 3rd and the 5th. 370 big league games in his career. One of the leaders of this squad. His team up 4-1. We'll likely see Ernesto Frieri to close out the game, just like he used to do for the Angels in the big leagues. That's Dion Diaz. Saw Frieri before, but maybe Diaz makes an appearance. Also with big league experience. 2-0 offer. It's upstairs. Donovan Solano, who has been playing defense all alone sometimes on the left side because of the shifting. And the 3-0 is pumped in for a strike.
We've said their names today, the brothers, a lot. They've done some damage for the team.
That man did great work last night in center field. Three-1 to Solano. He'll spoil it away. Team Colombia looking for its first ever win in the World Baseball Classic. The second game they've been a part of. 1-run loss last night, 3-1 advantage right now. And that 3-run lead is the total number of runs scored by Team Canada in almost 2 games of work now. And that was what we thought would be the bugaboo for Ernie Witt's team heading into this WBC.
Yeah, well, they flat out just haven't hit enough, and on the flip side, Colombia's hit in situations where, you know, they need to hit. So some big knocks by them, and that's why they're on top today.
Payoff to Solano. We'll do it again.
It's a great at bat by Donovan Solano. So take a look at the manager, Team Colombia. Found off some tough pitches right here with a 3-2 count, trying to get that guy with third base. Excuse me, not having enough runs in his mind. One more wouldn't hurt.
And probably trying to figure out who we'll see in the 9th inning, or maybe multiple relievers. 4 have warmed up. Greg Napo, Ernesto Frieri, Tehran Guerrero, and Dion Diaz. And the 3-2. Solano went through with the swing, and the strikeout completed at first. Polo hangs out at second.
Nice pitch by Matheson right here. Gets Solano swinging. Contreras has a little trouble picking the ball up, but good throw to first to first out of the inning.
That's George Kateris, the catcher for Team Canada. And Reynaldo Rodriguez, first baseman, who's 1 for 8 in the Classic. Rocked a single to the left side back in the 3rd inning. Facing a former big league pitcher in Scott Matheson. The previous 5 seasons pitching in Japan. Made his debut in 2006 at 22 years old with the Phillies. How many times am I going to say the Phillies today? Everybody with Philadelphia connections. And this is a just-in-case warm-up. Rodriguez now Giovanni Urshela if the inning stays alive. Matheson's 0-2. And that's strike 3. A long look for Reynaldo Rodriguez.
He didn't like to call, but I think it's the right call. Bell high. He thought it was up.
And we'll see Urshela. A single as the 3rd batter for Team Colombia in the 1st inning. He was stranded there. Puts the ball on the ground for the first time today. And Mallow makes the play. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. Maybe Dayan Diaz to close. A number of options and a lead for Colombia. The closer du jour for Team Colombia is Dayan Diaz, who made his MLB debut this past season with the Cincinnati Reds. His numbers at AAA Louisville. And now he is part of the Houston Astros organization, signing a minor league contract in the offseason and facing a hitless Justin Morneau in the World Baseball Classic, who is 0 for 6 so far. 2, 3, and 4. This is who you want to step up for Team Canada, a team that has struggled immensely at the plate. After Morneau, who swings through the 1-0, Eric Wood, and then superstar Freddie Freeman. Ernie Whitt's club has never advanced past the 1st round in the 3 tournaments they've been a part of. Morneau goes after the 1-1 fastball. And there are the struggles. The struggle is real. 148 and extra base hits, 16 strikeouts.
Well, that's just not going to cut it, however you look at it.
Morneau did walk back in the 1st, ended up scoring from the Freddie Freeman base hit. Contact the other way, but it will twist foul. Against the Dominican Republic on Thursday, Morneau was a strikeout victim a couple times. Difficult for him, though, because he wasn't in a big league camp.
It's always difficult when you're not in big league camp, but I think when you listen to the manager, Ernie Whitt, talk about trying to get him as many at-bats as he possibly could to get him ready for this, you got to trust that Justin Morneau is going to figure it out.
Can he do it in the 9th? No. Over to first base for strikeout number 1 for Dayan Diaz. 2 outs away from the biggest win in nation history. This was the previous one in 2017 against Panama. They had to beat them 2 times to qualify for this World Baseball Classic, and they pulled it off in Panama City. Dilson Herrera had a solo home run in the bottom of the 8th, and they called it the biggest hit in Colombian baseball history, at least when you're talking about a hit for the country. Edgar Renteria in 1997 says, hey, I had a pretty big one in Major League Baseball in 1997. to win the World Series for the Marlins.
And I was a part of that Marlins team, and absolutely owe a lot to Egger coming up with that big base hit off Charles Nagy to give the then Florida Marlins their first world championship.
Edgar's been all smiles down here in Miami. Eric Wood takes the pitch in tight. A ball and a strike. Interrupting our manager meetings. Saying hello. Can't go anywhere with you anyway.
No, you know what? You would think I know everybody.
You do.
Promise you I don't.
Cliff gets stopped every 2 seconds. Wood fouls it back. Freeman waits on deck. It would be nice to have a base runner for him. Some power after him in Tyler O'Neill and Jamie Romack. The Colombian fans had a long Friday night. They are just as loud now in the 9th as they were for a good portion of yesterday's game with the upset opportunity against Team USA. And they're 1 out away from their first victory in the World Baseball Classic.
You talking about nasty. This is absolute filth from Diaz, and that split change or falls off the table, and Eric Wood has no shot at that one. Colombian fans got a little dance going on in the stands.
I think they have a dance for just about every pitcher. And they switch hairdos throughout the night. They did it yesterday. This afternoon, coming with the red. Freddie Freeman, last chance for Team Canada, and a loss would likely eliminate this club. It would make it a very, very uphill battle tomorrow. Canada also might have to requalify for the next World Baseball Classic if they're last in Pool C. Dion Diaz looks like the right option chosen by his manager for the night.
I mean, he's coming with the thunder right now, and he's feeling something out there, a certain type of way. And this is early in camp for these guys still. And when you get that adrenaline going, like these guys are getting it going, you know, they're in mid-season form.
There's some serious adrenaline from this team that began back on Tuesday playing some exhibition games. Team Colombia, led by their 36-year-old manager. They said it began when they had a 6-run 9th inning against the Tampa Bay Rays earlier this week to come back and win. I know it was an exhibition game, but they said it mattered. It felt like a strong victory. They played the Minnesota Twins, lost, but the Twins pitchers were pitching for them. Quirky rules to get themselves ready. So they felt like that was a win as well to put 7 runs on the board. The pitching has shined. And now 1 strike away. Only 4 runs given up by this pitching staff over a 2-game span.
Well, I think the one thing they realized, you can't just turn the light switch on. You got to prepare a little bit earlier. You look different than, you know, the powerhouses, you know, that's in this pool. So this scene, if this don't get you going, then nothing will.
A chance to capture history. 2-2. And Freeman to the exact spot. The shift's a long throw to first, and it's not in time. Here comes Luis Urueta. You can't review this. It's not 9th inning rules like in Major League Baseball.
Let's get him in game speed, and tough to call right there. Take another look at it. Maybe Freddie helped with the safe signal himself. No. Nope. Hop back over.
Giovanni Urshela is the regular third baseman for this team. Luis Urueta saying, hold up. One more out, boys. Urshela, back in the 4th inning, was playing in that same shift role in shallow right field. And it was lined right to the glove. This time had to make a throw, and Freddie Freeman was there. So he's the base runner with 2 down, and Tyler O'Neill up next.
I'm gonna tell you something, Scotty. Freddie Freeman, better man than me, because I would have been rounding that bag like I was running up for a base hit single. I would have never thought that Urshela would have been standing in that position. So hats off him for getting it and remembering that he got robbed early in the game.
He's used to it nowadays. Yeah. Also robbed by Manny Machado on Thursday. Team Colombia, again, 1 pitch away. Tyler O'Neill hitless this afternoon. You might need extra memory to capture this one. 0-2. And that is socked to left field. A base hit to keep the game alive. Tyler O'Neill moves Freddie Freeman to second.
Nice pitch by Diaz, but Tyler pulls those hands in nicely and gets himself a base hit to left and keeps his game going.
Walter Miranda, pitching coach for the Colombians. 6 minor league seasons in the Marlins system. Also familiar with the city, of course, from 1992 to 1997. A pitching coach in the Red Sox organization since 1999. Coached at Class A Greenville in 2016. He'll return in 2017. Ernie Witt, a coach for the Philadelphia Phillies. And now Jamie Romack. Successful with a single in the 7th. We are not immune to comebacks in the World Baseball Classic. A 5-run 9th inning for Team Italy to take down Mexico a couple nights ago. And that was against a big league closer in Roberto Osuna. Less big league time for Dayan Diaz. First pitch to Romack is downstairs. This man is capable of putting a baseball over the wall, even in a big ballpark like this. 2015, leading the Pacific Coast League, a hitter's paradise league, with 27 long balls. 1-0 from Diaz, gets past him. 95 with a ton of movement.
Diaz says, you know what? Yeah, I know you got a little pop, but I'm going to challenge you to split the plate in half with a fastball.
Similar pitch that we saw to Tyler O'Neill that he handled well. Julio Teheran began the day for Colombia. 5 innings, just 1 run allowed. It's all we've seen from Canada, and that was back in the 1st.
See Diaz is out there messing with the mound. Has looked back a couple times after releasing the baseball, basically not comfortable, you know, with the mound. And that's always something you got to think about. Not pitching in this ballpark a lot, but coming from the bullpen out here for the first time, trying to get your footing.
He's only made 6 big league appearances back in May and June with the Reds. 2-1. Now 3-1. Josh Naylor, also some thump in that bat. 19-year-old prospect in the San Diego Padres organization. A part of the Andrew Kashner trade last year. He used to be in the Marlins chain. He would replace George Kateris if we get there. Romack versus Diaz. And the count's full.
Diaz just rears back and throws it in there. And nice little movement, as you mentioned earlier. That's an unhittable pitch, especially with a 3-1 count. Romack takes that pitch trying to earn himself a walk and keep the game alive.
A little two-seam nastiness.
Nasty.
Runners on the move. Game over. Team Colombia with its first ever victory in the 2017 World Baseball Classic.